All right, let's dive into one of the most personal yet unspoken languages that we all use every single day. I'm talking about the language of our clothes.
You know that feeling, right? You might be feeling a little off, a bit tired or unsure, but the second you put on a certain jacket or a specific pair of shoes, something just clicks. All of a sudden, you feel sharper, more confident, more you. Well, that isn't just in your head. It is a very real psychological phenomenon. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how it works.
So let's kick things off with what's happening inside our own minds. Because you see, before your clothes say a single thing to the outside world, they are talking directly to you.
Now, there's a scientific name for this. It's called enclosed cognition. It's a bit of a fancy term, but the idea is actually super simple. It means your brain takes on the symbolic meaning of the clothes you're physically wearing. So, if you put on something that you associate with being powerful or competent, your brain literally starts to think and act that way. It's this incredible feedback loop between what's on your body and what's in your mind.
And this isn't just a theory. The research really backs it up. Studies show that when people wear formal clothing, they tend to think more abstractly. They feel more powerful. They even perform better on tasks that need a lot of focus. Now, on the other hand, casual clothes are fantastic for comfort, of course, but if they feel sloppy or just not right for what you're trying to do that day, they can subtly drag down your confidence and your motivation.
So here's the bottom line. Before you even open your mouth to say hello, your outfit has already sent a really powerful memo to your own brain, telling it exactly who you're supposed to be in that moment. And you know what? Your mind listens.
Okay, so we've got the internal conversation down. Now let's talk about the external one. How your clothes communicate for you without you ever having to say a word.
That's it. Just a few seconds. It's wild, right? In that tiny little window of time, people are already making all these unconscious judgments about your credibility, your confidence, even how trustworthy you are. And your outfit? It's one of the main pieces of data they're using. It's an unbelievably fast and powerful process. But here's the cool part. You can absolutely use this to your advantage. Think of yourself as a kind of tour guide for yourself. Your clothes can get ahead of those snap judgments people make, guiding them toward a more accurate, more interesting understanding of who you really are. Here's a perfect example of this in action. The painter Peter Blake was this really successful intellectual artist. So people might have assumed he was kind of detached, maybe a little snobbish, but in his famous self-portrait, what's he wearing? A denim jacket and jeans. He was using his clothes to say, hey, that's not the whole story. I'm also modest. I see my art as a type of manual labor. I'm grounded. He was using his clothes to tell a much richer, more complete story about himself.
But that brings up a huge question, doesn't it? I mean, who decided all this? Who said a suit equals power and denim equals modesty? These meanings didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They're actually deeply woven into our social history, often in ways we don't even see. So let's do a quick trip back in time. Because for a huge chunk of history, clothing wasn't really about personal expression. It was a tool, and a pretty effective one, for enforcing social order.
And this history is just fascinating. In the Middle Ages, there were actual laws called sumptuary laws that made it illegal for a merchant to dress like an aristocrat. Fast forward a bit, and men collectively give up all the flashy colors and jewels for the simple, sober suit, shifting the way they signal status to really subtle things like the cut and the fabric. Then, of course, you get the flappers, whose practical, streamlined clothes were a direct symbol of their fight for new roles in society. And in the civil rights movement, dressing with immense dignity was a powerful visual way to demand respect and reject the dehumanizing narratives of white supremacy. So yeah, those old laws are gone, but the codes, they are absolutely still with us. They've just morphed into these quieter, unspoken rules that we're all trying to figure out every single day.
I mean, look at this. This is basically the modern-day version of that great masculine renunciation. The Silicon Valley uniform, the t-shirt and hoodie, it isn't about not caring about clothes. Oh no, it's a very specific dress code. It signals a whole new kind of status, one that rejects old-school corporate stuffiness and instead screams, I'm a disruptive innovator. But this brings us to a really crucial and deeply unjust part of how these codes work. The meaning of a piece of clothing isn't fixed. It can change dramatically depending on who's wearing it. The source material highlights this incredibly stark contrast. A white man in a hoodie can be seen as the next tech genius, while a black man in the very same hoodie is often perceived as a criminal, a threat. The clothing is identical. The social meaning is dangerously different. And these complexities just keep going. A casual outfit that might signal innovation on a man can actually undermine a woman's authority in the same leadership role.
And in our world of remote work, the dress code has literally expanded beyond our bodies. Your Zoom background, especially that perfectly arranged bookshelf, that is now part of your outfit. It signals your intellect and status, just like the fine fabric of a suit used to.
So, after all of that, the psychology, the history, the hidden rules, what do we do with this information? How can we use it to take back control and really make our clothes work for us? This right here is the single most important idea to take away from all of this. The true power of clothing isn't about dropping a ton of money on brands or trying to impress other people. It's all about alignment. It's about that feeling you get when what you're wearing on the outside perfectly matches your values and your goals on the inside. That feeling of authenticity, that's what people often read as charisma.
So here's a super simple two-step way to put this into practice. First, just change the question you ask yourself when you get dressed. It's not what looks good or what's impressive. It's what supports the person I need to be today. And second, consciously choose the clothes that reinforce that mindset. Whether you need to be focused or creative or calm or powerful.
And I think this quote just captures the whole thing perfectly. Your clothes are so much more than just fabric. They are a story you're writing about yourself, little lines of your autobiography that you choose to share every single day.
So, as we wrap up here, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Now that you know all this, what story will you choose for your clothes to tell tomorrow? Thanks so much for tuning in.